Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner, and welcome back to another Disney Dreamlight Valley decorating Longplay video. Today, we are working with the Tulip Town Bundle that was in the premium shop recently for the game. It is a beautiful bundle in terms of the tulips. I wasn't sure on the buildings when I first picked them up, but I've convinced myself with this build today, and I'm hoping that I can convince you as well that they are worth picking up if you really like them, because you can do a very nice build with them. I'm up here on the Peaceful Meadow floating island, so I'm going to start with a nice blank canvas. I'm going to walk you through the whole build as I usually do. I'm very excited to get into this one. There's a little glimpse of it behind me right here. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it and we will make a start. All right, so I am up here on the Peaceful Meadow floating island. I placed a few little bits down from the tulip bundles this week. We will continue to work as we go, but I've got a nice blank space to make a start with. I'm thinking of doing possibly some sort of town square. That's the idea that I'm hoping to achieve with this. So I'm just going to make a start by placing a few of the items where I think they should go, but actually right up front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of the biome. I always like to do that. I think it's super handy for me to work out exactly where the middle is. So I'm just gonna put a bunch of these playing cards down all the way across the biome, just like this, and then run out. But I can just take a couple of these. If I can grab 4 of them, I can just move these all the way down here. Then I know that the 5th one is on there, so it's roughly in the middle of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of the smaller rugs that I have right now, place those there, and I think that should be enough for me to go off. It's mostly getting just about centered. There we go. So I can see by my eye where that center tile is. So I know that that is the center that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to see if I can grab all of them. I can't. But I'm going to grab as many as I can and move those up. And then I should be able to grab that one, bring that down. This might be not something you want to do, and that's absolutely fine, but I just like finding the center of these floating islands. I think it's handy for me to work out where things should go. So I'm just going to pop those over here, another one there, and I can bring that there, and then I know that that's the center, and then I can just get rid of all those rugs. So I've got my absolute center point of the island right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change. I'm going to change just the middle tile, because that's kind of like my wayfinding tile. Everything's going to come off the back of that. So let's change that to something that I'm definitely not going to use, which is this gold path, because I'm not going to use the gold path for anything. And then I can make a start. So I'm going to bring this house and I'm just going to send it back a little bit. I actually don't want it to go right to the edge, so I'm going to have to work out how big of a town square that I actually want. But I'm thinking something along the lines of this. And I was thinking instead of having it wrap fully around on 4 sides, I'm going to have it on 3 sides, and then I can place like the well at the start, sort of like that. So you would walk into the big town square idea. I don't know if I've actually got a well that super matches. I guess the springtime well, possibly the cherry blossom well, but that feels a little bit out of place. But I think maybe the springtime well. If not, we can always go with the default, which actually might match a little bit more. But if I place maybe a bell tower on each side, something like that for now, while I work out the spacing. Oh, actually, we have to fit these in too. So maybe those end up being the corner pieces. Can I bring those bell towers in slightly? Let's see. Maybe like that. Bring another one of these buildings over. Line it up just about there. Let's see if I can replicate this on the other side. Kind of like that. Bring one of these in so it's centered. I think maybe I want a small gap in the roof line. So I'm going to try and align these like this instead. And then I'm going to bring this and make sure that's all in line. Having said that, it's kind of all the same height anyway, right? It's kind of all the same height anyway, but let's swap those ones out. Bring that into that center spot and then bring this one forward into it as well. Just like that. And then maybe we do like a brown. No, that doesn't work. I was going to say, because you could kind of like alternate the green and the brown, I guess, if you attach them sort of like that, but it does block that window at the top, which is a shame. I feel like I wish the roof lines connected a little bit nicer than they do. I'm actually going to rotate that around slightly. I'm going to have it like that instead. That's cute. And then we could put maybe we could put the windmill in the corner. That's coming perilously close to the window, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Maybe we have a bit of a gap. That was 8. I think I can work with that. So if I do this one, that's right on the corner by there. And then it was what? Oh, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Food scoop, baby, it's driving me crazy. And then what we could do, perhaps, I don't know, I feel like having those in front of the windows could be nice. I know it blocks the top window. Or maybe we just have it maybe over here. And then let's see what we've got on this side. Maybe I could do the same thing again, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's nice and evenly spaced on both sides. I like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just get that all lined up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We don't really have much to work from in terms of variation of the buildings. So I'm just going to have to do the best with what I've got. And that's okay. Let's do that one. I wish that we could buy the house, because at least the house has some more variation to it, but it is what it is. Let's put another one of those down. Make sure we've got our little town. And then we could put maybe one of these that way. And then possibly like another brick one. I don't know whether to bring that back so it's got a bit of depth to it. You know? If that's the case, do I rotate that one? So it's kind of flat across the back, but we've actually got some visual depth to it that makes it feel a little bit more interesting. So let me just see what I did with that. Let's do Let's do a rotation on you. And then let's pull another one of these in line at the back. And we can grab another one for end piece. I feel like that's nice. I do feel like it's a little bit wide. So when I say that, what I mean is I kind of want these to be almost here instead. So it's like a square, but obviously I know that that affects the windmill and how that looks. So I'm just going to try a few different placements of this windmill or this building around the windmill. Let's take that one and let's go something like that. Or it just depends whether we do actually have the windmill angled or whether we have it, I don't know, kind of like this. That feels okay. I'm gonna go back one. I'm gonna move these down. Maybe one. It's clipping into the building, which I don't really love. I think maybe actually I prefer the original way, but let me just see. See, I don't really like it in line because I feel like the windmill has to be standalone by itself. I mean, the other option is to place the windmills around the back and we kind of like surround them with trees. That is definitely a possibility. So we could do something like this. So they're just out the back. And then we could also have them at the front, maybe. Let's move this selection of buildings into the corner then. Grab the group mode. We can take all of them and we'll place them down. About there. Actually, they should probably have a gap. So we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Although now I feel like I kind of missed seeing the windmill. So maybe I just go with my gut and I stick with what I originally had, which is something like this. I can make that work. I can make that work. Where these things go yet, I am not 100% sure. I don't know whether to attach them to the sides of the buildings just for a bit more interest. Maybe we put them in the middles, just on the left and the right. Actually, I quite like that on the left and the right. Even though you can't go in there, at least it gives a bit of visual interest, just like that. Then off the back of that, do I place them on these ones too? Or are they more hidden on the side pieces because you can't quite tell that they're blocking anything up? No, I like that actually. I do quite like that. Let's take a look from above. That works for me. But for the center of this town, I was thinking of maybe doing something fun if I could with all of these kind of brick garden walls that we got in the premium shop a couple of weeks ago. I will say these brick walls keep finding their way into a lot of my builds recently for good reason. I absolutely love them. I feel like the color is not a million miles away, so I think that I can make it work. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to drag this out now so I know properly where the center is. So I'm going to do that. I know it doesn't line up to the buildings on the side, but that's okay. And I think I'm just gonna try and come up with like, I don't know, some sort of central area, maybe. Maybe sort of, kinda. But let's see. Let's do something like that. Actually, that one can wait. I was thinking as well, it would be like super cute if I could do something like that, you know, where the wall kind of blends and has a slightly rounded corner. But let me try something like this. And we could do that, and then I wonder if I could fit one of those in. Well, that seems to have worked. But off the back of that, I really feel like these need to be centered to that. Like, that just feels like that's the way that it needs to be. So let's move that slightly. And then we can move this down 1, 2, maybe even 3, 4. Back 1. Something like that, so it still lines up. Then I can pop the bell tower back in that spot, and I can have this one on the end, just like that, maybe. Although I think they should all be lining up at the back, so let me inset that one a little bit more. Apart from that, I need those roof lines to line up. Unless we go with having it enclosed just like that. And then we bring that over. Yeah, I think I prefer that to what I had. So let me bring you down to about there. And then I wish that we had a duplicate option for these, but unfortunately we don't. So I'm going to move that, and then I'm going to move these two in line, which I think maybe they need to come across by one more. Just like that. And then did they come back too far? No, they need to go back further, if anything. Let's do that. And then this can be brought down. And then actually that spacing looks just about right to me. Something like that. And then let's do this one right up against that, like there. And we can bring in the bell tower at the final bit on the corner with that nice inset corner too. And I believe that they should both line up to the middle now, which I think is slightly better for what I'm attempting, I guess. That looks good. I'm happy with that. Around the back of this, just while I think about it, I'm wondering if maybe I have, whether you'll even see it or not, but I'm wondering if I have maybe this fence. And then I can have that go both sides. I'm going to delete that to try and balance them out. So we're going to go to about there. There we go. I'm getting to the point where I can do this by eye now, which is nice. So if you bring it out from that corner piece to, let's say, there. I was one off by the look of it. One off. What, that one maybe? Yes, there we go. So then at the back, you just get a little look and a little glimpse at that fence. Now that all of that is kind of in place, I'm thinking I can probably work on this on the other side. I don't know if this pattern is going to be the one that I stick with, but I just want to see how it looks when it comes together like that. So I'm going to do another 1, 2, and then one corner piece, and then I can bring that gate over here as well. Just kind of like that. And then let's just do the same thing on the bottom. So the nice thing about this kit is it makes such good repeatable pattern pieces. And if you're a symmetry girly like I am, then it's a dream come true, to be perfectly honest with you. Something like that. Although I'm wondering if that's too sharp. Like, we've got a rounded corner, so I could round that because this kit has so many pieces, and we could have a nice rounded corner on the inside, which feels a lot nicer. That feels a lot softer than that hard square edge. So I'm going to do that as well. Let's get rid of that one. Bring in the single piece and bring in the corner piece. Get rid of that one. And we can do that. Oh, doesn't that look good? I feel like that looks so good. Do I know what's going to go in this middle bit? Absolutely not. Will we work it out together? Absolutely yes. Let's pop that in. And then we can just do exactly the same thing on the other side. Just like that. 1, 2. Bring the corner piece back in. Rounded piece, single one, spacer, big corner. And it's as easy as that to put together those lovely walls. Now that I have the walls in, I'm wondering if I make any of them, like this one could be a planter. This one could be a plant. Oh, let's go. Let's get these planters in as the middle pieces. What an absolute dream. They can have some flowers in them. It's going to look fantastic. So I'm just going to get rid of those couple of things. Let's get those planters in place, just like that. And then we need to soften up the corners on this side. Like that. Like that. Then we can get a planter in. And those can have beautiful plants inside of them. I love this. I love this. I love this already. Okay. Now, off the back of that, let's do the fence on this side that we did to match the other side. So let's grab the iron spike fence. I'm just going to bring it all the way down for now. Just like that, so I can see where they meet. Do that, and then I can delete, bring that across one, and then bring that across there. And then I can get rid of the middle pieces, just like that. And then again, I'm going to do that by eye and hope that I'm roughly in the right place. Looks like I was 1 off on that side. Interestingly, does that mean that I'm 1 off, or are we good? Let's try that, and that lines up. So we are good to go. Delete those middle pieces. And do the same thing over here. I was just 1 off again. Looks like I peaked with the first one. I've not been able to replicate it since. There we go. That all lines up beautifully. So now we've got those nice little fences in the background. We've got this kind of, I don't know, town square-esque element to it. In a way, you could almost lose the bell tower on each side to make it feel kind of like balanced in terms of that being where it ends, but I actually like having the bell towers, to be perfectly honest, so I deleted that one by accident. Let's do that. And then I think I'm going to try and get some path in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete each one of those, because I think this center bit should have a different path to the rest. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to start filling in all of these gaps. Just like this. One day, Gameloft will hear my pleas to give us a filling in tool. Unfortunately, today is not that day, but we persevere, we push on, and we do it manually. So I'm just gonna do the borders first, and then I'm gonna come down this side and do this border as well. And then at least when it's done, it's done. So we can do something like that, and then we can just go across and do line by line. Essentially, it makes it a little bit easier to do the filling in. Something like that, and then just finish that off. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same thing at the bottom. Bring that over, down, in, bring that over. Just like that. Gorgeous. When I look at this now, I don't know why I've made it so thin, to be honest. So part of me really wants to just go like this. And bring it down, something like that, to just make it a little bit deeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to... But then that's the thing, it doesn't line up with that then. So that's why I did it. So they could line up with those archways, but I guess it's not that deep. But actually, I kind of like that. I don't often do, like, squished, for lack of a better term. I always seem to do, like... I always seem to do bigger spaces, but part of me is like, okay, well, that could work. But then part of me is like, well, what if I actually had these things as the entrances to this area instead? But I feel like that might then like swallow it up a little bit. Let me show you. I feel like that ruins the vibe slightly. You can actually create like these quasi tunnels with these as well. So you can stack a couple of them together if you wanted to. But actually, no, let's leave it for now. Let's continue to flesh this out. I'm going to change this path, and I was thinking either to go with this one, because I thought that it might match the Tulip Town buildings, or I was thinking just the brick with the border. I feel like that works. However, I do want to essentially have all of this paved. So I think for now, let me swap it to the main street path. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to... This is going to take a hot minute, but I kind of just want to do this. So for the whole thing, I just want to... Not in the gold, but I just really would like to have it all paved around the buildings. Because then after that, I can take chunks out of the paving if I want any grass spaces left. So if I do something like that, and then we go, I think I'm gonna have to go in this one. So I'm gonna suspect, yeah, I'm gonna suspect that that was taking up that one, which makes sense. So I'm just gonna bring this all the way across to here, up one, across. And we'll do the same on this side, up one, across. I will say I'm very grateful to have a keyboard and mouse to be able to do this with. I have run out of that one, so let's actually swap that to the brick road now. I'm gonna undo that because I took a chunk out of the main street tile. Come up again, just like that. Actually, I think we could probably go to about here. And then let's do like that. We could even do diagonal in front of. Let's see. Does that line up? You just have to come across. Or you can come into. There we go. Yeah, okay, that looks good. Let's do that. And then actually I could just do that all of the way down. But if I do that on that side. Okay. Actually, do I want it going down there? All right, off the back of that then, if I wanted the same thing on that side. I think that works. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. So what I need to do is delete this one. And then I can bring this down roughly to about here, because I've got that back border going across now, so I don't need to go all the way to the edge, and I can just fill in. Make sure that I'm still under the building at least. I can just fill in some of this gap. Like that. Bring that down an extra one. We can come to about... Okay. Come to about here. Bring that down. Let's do there. Like that. Get rid of this one over here, and then get rid of this one over here because they are no longer needed. And I'm just going to fill in some of these gaps. Super quick. Like that. And then I can just take that a little bit further back, wherever it needs to be. And then over here, I'm actually going to go ahead and make a start on this side. So I'm just going to bring that all the way up. Just like that. And I know that then that comes all the way down to the front of the building where it has the little step. So I think we did something like that, right? And then I think I did 3. Although maybe that's slightly off. Actually, that looks evenly spaced to me. So where have you gone wrong? I don't think I have, actually. I think if I just go underneath there. Oh, no, that's definitely wrong. That's definitely wrong. I've added an extra bump over here. So that should be coming down to there. And then that should be coming down like that, maybe? Oh my goodness, what have I done wrong? Okay, let's start from the top. So that's where that begins. And then actually let's get rid of that side. And we can bring this down to about here. Then I've got 1 step, 2 step. Well, I think I may need to bring that out. I think I may need to bring that down an extra one. Like that. So then we've got the 2 steps, and then it immediately goes across to there. There we go. We got there in the end. So I can bring that forward then, right on the front of that path. I can bring that forward again, right on the front of that path. Okay, let's grab that. Grab you. I'm going to go back to there. Bring that all the way across to meet up. And I can start filling all of that in nice and easy. Leaving those grassy bits on the sides of the windmill, I think. That'll be nice. And then I may change it to diagonal just to see what happens with those corner bits. I think it'll look fine. Make that over there. Undo that one. Fill that in. And then we can just do one more across. Then we bring down, across. All for the rest of this path. Let's go like that. Make sure that I've got all the little inlet bits, which I do. Bring this one across, at the back. to the front, and so on and so forth. Looks good, that looks good, that looks good. At least when the paving's done, it's done. That's the main thing, especially with big areas like this. As soon as it's all down, at least you can swap it and you don't have to kind of remove it and, you know, replace it all down. We do have the ability to swap it for different styles, which is really a lifesaver when you do this amount of space. We've only got a couple more rows to go. Let's do that. And we are done. Okay. Something like that, I think. And then filling in with some nice decorations and whatnot. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this diagonal super quick, see if it looks okay. I like how it looks. There we go. Let's see what this one looks like. I'm just going to bring it forward one more, actually. Just like that. Now the question is, I'm just going to swap it for this one just so I can swap them, but do I have the brick one in the center and the main street around the edge? Or do I have the main street in the center and the brick one around the edge? I'm kind of leaning towards the second option. So let me swap that for that and have this one as the brick because it kind of matches so closely. I mean, the other option is to have it all brick, but that feels like it's not got enough definition. So I feel like having the Main Street one works. The only thing that bugs me is the Main Street path is a little bit more red, I guess, than the buildings would kind of allow, for lack of a better term, because they are so brown. So I'm gonna have to work with it and sit with it, and we may end up going with something else. But for now, I think this looks okay. So unfortunately, I came out of build mode and nothing had saved. So I absolutely love this game so much. It's the best game in the world with no bugs. But instead of doing all that pathing around the edge, which I just did, I think maybe I'm going to leave the middle section and work in the remaining of the pathing later, because I might end up not paving it all and only paving towards like the doors or having a little walkway around the edge as well. So to move on from that, what I'm going to do is I think we're going to try and start getting some tulips in, and I kind of want to have them in multiple places. So I want them around the edges of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the straight ones for now because they fit in just kind of like that, I would say. Let's take a look, because it might be that I put the end caps on these, but I want to see how they look first if I just use the straight pieces. So let's do one of those on each side, and then what we're going to do is let's bring in an end cap, but straight away you can kind of see that it doesn't quite work out. The only other frustrating thing about the end caps is they gave us two versions of everything else, like the corners, so we could get the corners right, but they didn't give us two end caps where the colors were reversed. So the end cap only works kind of like one way for getting the colors to match, because then if you put it on this side, you can see it actually flips them, which is a shame, but never mind. So what I think I might try actually is, what if we actually just do this all the way around? Let me see how this looks. Let's see if I can grab the other piece. So So that wants to go there as a minimum, which means that has to go about there. So it can't be too close if I do that one, because then I can't fit anything in there, which is a shame. But the colors of these do look so good. I absolutely love the colors. So I'm gonna have to make a decision. Do I just put the end caps on the edge so they kind of like stick out like that? I fear that that's gonna have to be the way that it is. Not a lot I can do about it. Unless I just commit to putting the corner piece on anyway. So it kind of matches up, but also not really, but also you can't really tell, I guess. Let's see how that looks over this side. I mean, it does look good, but then that one just stops abruptly if I don't use an end cap. But it's bugging me that the end cap is the wrong way around. I don't even think I can do it with... Okay, I can do it with that one, so it kind of like fades out into a little end piece. Let's see how far that needs to come out. Unless I just bring it around like that. I guess something like that could work. It's not like... It's not the end of the world. I actually think that looks okay. So let me replicate that on this side. Something like that. And then we've got, what, 2 over here with another corner piece. And then we've got the little single bottleneck kind of coming out this way. Again, with the bottleneck, you can't quite match the colors up, but don't they look good? I absolutely love how those colors look. The only other question is, do I have the bottlenecks also on the fronts? But we shall see. Let's just, for now, get some more of these straight pieces in. Something like that. Get those corners on the go. One where? Right here? Yes. Then one here. Then one on each side. That pop of color immediately just makes it feel so much better. That's cute. I like that. Yeah, and I mean, even if I didn't want those on the front, I could have like... I could have shrubs or trees or something like that, but I'm going to leave them for now. Where's that go? It lines up with the end of that, I believe. Lines up with the end of that. Very nice. That's adorable. Do you know what part of me really wants to do? It wants to move everything down, but I just don't have it in me. I just do not have it in me. I don't think I can bring myself to do it, so I'm gonna roll with this. I'm gonna leave it as this for now. Let me see if this saves first of all. That's the first port of call. Another part of me now is thinking I could do like smaller brickwork bits over here that maybe have like a tree in or something along those lines. I think that could be fun. So let me just see where this lines up to begin with. Shall I line it up with that? And then maybe I bring it... Maybe I bring it down. Tell you what, let's stick with a trusty path method. We can put one here. And then I can bring that down. But what I'm thinking is maybe I have it on the edge. of this building. So let's do that all the way across. And then let me grab another bit of path that is in line with you. Just about there. And then I can bring that down. Oh, that was pretty much in the right place anyway. Let's do it like round about there. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing then with these on this side. About right. Move across one. Do something like that and that and that. I might need to make this bigger depending on what tree I want to put in it. I haven't actually redeemed the sycamore tree yet. I think that could be a great one. Otherwise, we could do just one with a relatively small footprint, but is nice and green, or just something simple like that. Oh, look at that. It looks so good. Let's do something like that. You can delete those bits of path for now. Get rid of all of those. I will add some more path in later, but oh, doesn't that feel it feels so good. So off the back of that, I don't have that many flat pieces of flowers left. I'm going to have to pick some more up from Scrooge, but I was just going to essentially have a bunch of these around the windmill. Because I feel like that's how it goes, right? That's the setup of Tulip Town. So if I do something along those lines, I think I'll be happy. I'm going to get rid of that and maybe we do... No, I'm just going to have that go all the way down. Praying I get a duplicate button at some point. Then we can do another row maybe, and let's see, will it fit? It will only fit up to it, which I think is fine. I can work with that. Let's do here, here, and then here, and then maybe we could get one on the other side if it wants to. But I need to make sure it's in line. So it's kind of just like that. I mean, the other option is to bring the windmill forward by... it's 2 tiles by the look of it. So it would have to go 1, 2, and then 1, 2. Which actually is not the end of the world. I don't mind that at all. So let's do 1, 2, 1, 2. And then I should be able to finish that row. Even though I've got none left. Move that over there just to see what it looks like. So it does fit. And then hopefully... Looks like I can't get one from there, but I should be able to get another row across like that. So at least it'll look like it's full. And then they're just kind of like out there in the background, swaying in the wind, which is adorable. Having said that, I don't know if all of those ones need to be visible. Maybe it's just like 4 on each side. You know, so maybe it's just kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, just for the diagonal. Because you can't see behind those windmills really anyway. Maybe it needs an extra row. Let's see. Okay, maybe it's an extra row on both sides. Something kind of like that. And off the back of that, then I can just push those up against the house. Okay, I think that looks good. And actually what I should do is rotate those ones. Well, look, they're longer. So let me see. What have I got? What do I get if I rotate that? Oh, it's fine. Yeah, let's do... Let's do there. And then I'll just do the extra rows. Just like that. And then they look like they're going, oh, that looks so cute. Yes, I love that. Okay, so I'll need to pick some more of those from Scrooge, but that's fine. I can do that shortly. This is all looking adorable. So the next thing I'm thinking is maybe we just start getting some stuff in the center of this. Maybe we do like, I don't know, a fountain or something along those lines in the middle. And then maybe we could have some sort of trees or shrubs on either side of that. Just to break it up a little bit. Maybe we even do something like that. I love deleting pathing after the fact and playing around with it. But let's see what fountains we've got that I can use for this build. I don't think a chocolate fountain is the best, although maybe it feels okay. Got the zoo fountain, which is actually a lovely matching color. Actually, wait, that kind of works because it goes with the jade green. It's just not very impressive. I'm going to keep that to the side and just quickly see what else we've got. I don't think Morocco fits for this one. The bind, I guess it's not a million miles away from the aesthetic, but it's straying a little bit, maybe. We've got the small marble ones, but I don't think the marble works just with the stone top that we've got going on. The only other one is like the Seaside Village, Jasmine, but they're all very warm-toned. All of these are warm-toned, actually. Mickey's way too big. The Toontown one probably would work just because it's got the different color flowers on it. So, I mean, that's definitely an option, actually, now that I look at it. Or even the Tea Time Fountain. Or the Gold Regal one. I think those are going to be my options. I don't really want to use the Gulch Fountain, to be perfectly honest. Let me move this over here. Let's try the Tea Time one. That might feel... I mean, that's got whimsy to it, actually. The Tea Time one definitely has some whimsy to it. I actually kind of like how that looks. And then let me try this illuminated one. Or this big gold one. I think that's too much. That's definitely too much. So it's really between these three. I kind of like the Toontown one, to be perfectly honest with you. It feels... That's the one my gut is going to, but I also really do like this Jade one. It's just the fact it feels so small. It just feels a little bit too small. But we could use it somewhere else. And I think, well, I do really like the teapot one as well. But I think just for the size, I think the Centennial one, or the Toontown one, I should say, just works for this application. It's actually a bit too big to have that path taken out from underneath it. But let me align it to the center. So I know that we are working with gas, and then I could maybe try and take some more path out myself. Kind of like that. Let's do... Actually, that's the one I need to keep. So let's get rid of that one and that one. And then I can get rid of those. I think that's it. Actually, let me move that then. Delete that bit. And that fits in there quite nicely. Let's change that. No. Unless I just have it all grass around it. Part of me feels like it needs an extra tile, to be honest. So let me just see how that looks. But then I also feel like it needs one out the front and the back. But I may be expanding the space way too much. Let's try that. And then let me fill in those corners again. I mean, actually, that kind of works. Is that centered? It is, it just doesn't feel like it because the back is so top heavy. So I'm actually going to move it forward by 1 tile. Sometimes optically centering something is better. And then I could just do, maybe bring in a little bit more around the edges. And I could possibly fill that one in, but take those two. Take those two, but fill that one in. So there's a little path in between it. I like that. I like that. I think that looks good. And then maybe we could just continue creating like flower beds or something like that. I don't know. I'm just feeling floral with this tulip kit. I just feel like it. Right? I think that looks cute. And it still feels like it all functions. I wonder if I need to fill that one in. And just have the flower beds there before they hit the corner. So it just feels like it has a little bit more space to breathe. So I could do the same thing over here. Take those 3 out. I don't know. This might be too much. Maybe I'm going too far, but I'm really enjoying playing around and trying instead. I mean, I was thinking like some sort of garden area. I think that actually works quite nicely. Let's fly with that. I don't actually know if I want to use tulips in these Cosy beds. What I know we do have, and I wasn't sure whether to also integrate, is the little fences that we got with Lady and the Tramp. So I believe that they came early on in that update. Yes, this Edwardian like barrier. I don't know whether this fits or not. Whether this goes with the look. I could be wrong. But I mean, I think it looks cute. But it might be the case that I don't do that. But I feel like it works because it's so low level. So let's go ahead and try and put some of these around the beds and see if that actually works for us. Maybe one there. We got one here. If I do it maybe just on certain beds. Unless I just do it on everything. But on everything might feel too much. I don't know. I need to see. Let's see what it looks like over these ones first. So let's put it on each one of these. Do one here. Actually, you want to be about there. Bring it 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Because all these beds match very nicely. And then it's possible that maybe I leave the middle bit open, or I actually put it on the middle bit as well. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess I'll do 9 and 10. That's me out of those, so let's do that. And I think maybe that's it other than that one. And I just move that in. I think that works, right? I feel like that still adds like another layer of texture, maybe. Let me just see. I know that I've got no corners left, but let me see. At least I don't think I have any corners. Let's search Edward. Team Edward or Team Jacob. Yeah, I've only got the end pieces left now. I do have the gates, however. I actually kind of prefer those. I don't know if I prefer those gates to these ones or not. No, I don't think I do. I think I prefer the brick ones. Maybe? Maybe? Yeah, I'm going to have to because it's not going to fit in the space because it's designed for the brick one. So I'm not going to stray too far from that. But let me just see what this looks like. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna quasi do this myself. I can only do kind of like that, just with the way that for some reason the grid on those works. I actually don't mind that either. No, I think I do mind that. I think I don't like that one as much. Part of me kind of like seeing that one open and just having the extra borders around the edges for where the planting could go. And bearing in mind, I have no idea what planting we're going to put in there, but that's okay. That's part of the fun? Question mark? I tell you what, let's bring some path out. Let's just start extending this a little bit out on each side. So I'm just going to bring it to essentially the entrance of each building for now. And I know that I've kept the same path when earlier I said I didn't want to, but I've grown to like this Main Street path and the trauma from it not saving earlier. It's actually not saved 3 times. I've just not mentioned it, but I think that works for me. And then I'm going to have it come down here. Just like that. And then maybe even where it meets the brickwork, I might have it come out and just like underneath it by 1. Although, does that look silly because of the way the tulips are? I think maybe it does. I just kind of like the idea of having it under the brick pillars. But I don't think it makes a difference in the grand scheme. So we could do that, and then maybe we could even have like... Could we have a path just follow this down here? Maybe it follows the line of the tulip beds. You know, so maybe it's something like this. Maybe I just get rid of that one. We go what, to there? Then we can bring it across. Maybe those end tulip pieces are bugging me too much. Maybe we just have something else there. Apart from the sides, I still kind of like it on the sides. All right, I'm going to move it from the front and back. I'm going to have this come across here like that instead. Bring that up to about there. Actually, no, that's fine. And then maybe we just soften those edges slightly. Like that? I kind of like that. That feels like it follows the tulips better than the rest did. But now I have to try and replicate that. So what did I do? We start with the bottom one. It just comes all the way down to here. Like that. And it goes to the edge. Then we've got a single one, then we've got two, and then it comes back in. So we've got a single one, and we've got two, and then it comes back in. Like that, and then that goes all the way up to match that one. I think. Let's see. Let's see if we can get that going. Let's do that. I think that's about right. And then we've got the two there, and then it goes up for two. And then it comes across quite a lot. And then roundabout, gosh, roundabout there seems to do that. I think that mirrors. It appears to mirror, which is what we were after. Okay, that looks good, right? That feels like it's come together really well. Now the question is, do I do the same thing around the front? Do I do the same thing around the front? It has started raining, which it hasn't done a great deal of recently, so I can't complain too much. Let's do this. And then we come all the way across to here. And we've got another two-step by the look of it. Is that 1, 2, 3 away? And that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They looked different, but actually I think they're the same. And then that just comes all the way across. So that's a nice, easy match. Let's do same over here. So we come all the way across to right about there. Then we got 1, 2. And then over here, I can bring this one down. And that looks right. So I'm gonna just follow that. And I'm just gonna fill that in for another tile. We'll do that on both sides. So let's do like this. Something like that. And then we can pull that down. Actually, that needs to come out an extra one. That needs to come out one. Right, and then that is gonna come all the way down to here. That looks like a perfect match. So we can take that harsh corner off. Kind of put there. Let's do the same thing over here. So we're just going to bring that down. And then we're going to go 1. Okay, so the step goes 1 step, 2 steps, 3 step. And then this one comes down 2 and then out. Oh, and then I've got that final little row by there. Which looks correct, other than the fact, I think maybe on both sides I'm 1 tile out on that. All right, there we go. That looks good. That looks super good. Excellent. I do have some more of these now. I went and bought some more from Scrooge, so I should be able to fit these in. just have to move the lighthouse again, unfortunately, because it didn't save from earlier on, but I should now be able to get at least 3 rows, I think, on either side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate those ones around. And I'm going to do 1, 2. And then I can just fill those little gaps in. Looking at that, it seems it's touching the back of it on this side. So I'm just going to move those and let them touch it as well. Just like that. Because that's all spaced fine. I think maybe I'm just going to bring that out by a tile. Just now that I look at it again. Something like that. Maybe we go to 4. Just because you can kind of see just behind. And I think that should catch most of the sight lines. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab these. I'm going to do exactly the same over here. I'm just going to rotate it all the way around. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I need to move this windmill slightly. So we're going to come down, down. I'm going to get some more of those in place. Let's move that back so it's touching the building. Like that. Then we'll do 1 here, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we need to, we can fill those in later on. But what I might also do is put like a big tree in those corners, the bigger version of that one. I think that would be quite nice. I love this. We should just fill in now with some little decorative elements, benches, those sort of things. What I've realized is that maybe I need to take these ones out so I have space for a bench. So I'm gonna fill that one back in just so I can see how it looks, and I'm just gonna search bench because I think I want to use the green parks bench that we have. Unless we could just stick a retro diner bench in, which doesn't go whatsoever. But these iron park benches, like, they're green, so they already kind of fit the vibe. Okay, that blocks the path, so I think 1 is fine. But I need to fit those in, so I'm going to have to reclaim some of the land that we used up to be able to do so. So let me do that real quick. We can get that in. I'm going to have it just 1 away from the wall so it doesn't feel too tight. I mean, the other option is to angle it like that, you know, sort of like in the corner. Can't decide if I like this. Oh, actually, I kind of like the angled version. Let's do that. It's 1 away from the wall on both sides. And we do a 3rd one over here. 1 away from the wall. And then we could put the park recyclers in, because those are also green. The magical recyclers. Just next to those benches. Because I feel like those fit. That looks really good. I don't know what to put in these sections yet. I'm kind of like unsure whether to use these again, but I've not left a great deal of room. Obviously, it could really only fit like 1. You see, just with the amount of space that we've got, I feel like the tulips are better suited on the outside. Although I've done that with the path, you might not even see it, even if I use flower bushes, but we will get onto foliage in just a second, because we're not a million miles away. But one thing that I do think we've not used, and I think that we could, is some water. Obviously, the Netherlands has a bunch of canals and things, especially in places like Amsterdam. So I was thinking maybe we could just bring in some sort of water element. I don't know how or where that should go right now, but let's try and figure it out. Maybe we use the walls again? Possibly. Maybe there's too much wall usage going on if I do that, but let me just see how it looks and how close I can get that, because you can actually butt it pretty tight. Let me take a corner piece, move that up by 1. Okay, so it's just on the path. Or alternatively, we have a little bit of space of grass just to make it feel it's got a small border. Don't know whether the wall's going to cover too much of it. That's my only concern. But if you never try, you'll never know. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, this might be a bad idea, but it's just something I have to try. I do actually kind of like that, though. I do kind of like that. Wait, I've just had an idea. I've just had an idea. Let's make this a square. And then we could have that middle bit cut out so the water goes around the tree. Yes. I might have to use different water pieces. So I tell you what, let me get the tree back in place. Oh yeah, this is genius. This is genius. Actually, that works. And then we can put this back in the center of it. And then we can have water around the edge. I just need to find a piece that will work. It doesn't have to be that one. That one's way too big. Pool is too big. We got a middle piece. Small. Ah, the large. Will you satisfy my request? It will. Look at that. Oh no. Where are we hitting a... No, 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 no. What do you hate? Where am I hitting the... Aha, okay, it's there. Oh, that was going to be such a good idea. And it doesn't... I don't think it'll matter how many I go out, right? Like, I don't... I'm going to try a few different variations of this here, but I don't think it's going to matter. Because I'm not going to be able to put the wall down there without getting rid of the tree. Yeah, it's going to be the same because they're all the same space. You know, I thought I was really onto something there. Can I still make this work? In any capacity. That's so annoying. That was such a good idea. Maybe I can kind of like do something else. Maybe? Maybe sorta? If I do that, it still won't fit the small piece in, right? No. Okay, wait. Let's just go back. Let's just go back. And we'll take a second. And we'll have a think about what we can do. Maybe it's that maybe it's that I add to this piece somehow. Where's that center piece? That's the center line there. So that was working like that. I'm gonna do one back. And then, can I fit anything in that gap, or is it not happy with me? It wants to go down 2? I mean, I can do that. I can do that one. Something like that. That works for me as well, to be perfectly honest. So let me replicate that on this side too. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got this one here. We've got 1, 2, 1, 2. And take this. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Then off the back of that, let's move this tree out of the way. Delete those. And then what have we got? We've got a single coming off. Does it just line up with the edge? It does. So we've got a single coming off there and there, and then we've got the corner. So it's like that, and then that tree is placed in the center. Okay, that still works. That still works. That still works. And then I can place that down over there, just like that. I wonder if we do perhaps... Part of me wants to do another 2 windmills. I just don't know if that would be right for this. Because it should, if I want to match it with the other one, it should really be about there, right? Which actually I think looks better than the bell tower. I think that looks better than the bell tower. So this corner is actually in line with this piece. Like that. And then I can just do the same thing with that one, which I think maybe... I just want to check that those are lined up real quick. So if I were to do a fence off the back of it, it would go to the edge of the straight piece. So if I were to do a fence off the back of it, that needs to go back by 1. It needs to go back by 1. So now if I do... Oh, wait. Let's do that. And let's do that. That's now in the right place. I'm going to say... I'm going to say that's right. I'm going to say that's right. Let's get rid of that one. Oh, this looks so good. This looks so, so good. I love how this is coming together. I think maybe we could probably replace, like, these corner pieces for these ones on each end, maybe, so at least there's a bit of extra light and it feels a bit more regal. Now the question is, do I do the same thing over here? So where have I got that? Let me delete those and let's see if I can fit Wait, let's do that as the crossroad. And then I can do the straight piece here and here. And then I can do a corner piece. Okay, no. It's because we've used the gate elsewhere, I think. That's what the issue is. So if you look, we're out by a tile again. Let me roll all of that back. Let's not stray too far from the light. Because otherwise I'm going to have to move everything by one, and I do not have it in me. When I tell you I do not have it in... I do not have it in me. But I could just open it up like that, rather than having it closed off. So we can just go to the edge of this rounded one instead. And I could do that maybe on this side too. Kind of like that. Okay, yeah, that works. Oh, this looks so good. It's very kindly stopped raining. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this down to this end bit. And actually a little bit further probably, because I'm just going to have us arrive by well when you land on this floating island, wherever my well is. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to bring that over here, get that out of the way. Can't remember which way it needs to be rotated for it to be accurate. So you're forward facing, but let's do that instead. I'm going to just get rid of those little bits. This looks fun. It's so vibrant and bright as well. So what I'm thinking is foliage time. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these. I may even do like some more tulips here, just to really hammer the theme home, you know, very on the nose. But let's grab some trees first. So let's jump into the trees tab. I mean, we could do some whimsical stuff like these as well. I don't know if they really fit, but they are interesting at the very least. But let's actually grab some real life looking trees right now. I'm going to come all the way down to the original ones. Actually, wait. I wonder if I could do a Plaza hedge. Kind of about here. That's what I was toying with, doing something like that. But actually, I think I prefer the look of the smaller one. And it actually lines up, which is really nice. So I could do something like that. And I wonder if it... Oh, it does go to the center of there too. So something like that could be an option. But I don't know. I'm going to move this one to the side for now. And what I am going to do is I'm going to grab one that matches. So a light birch tree. I want to try and match the color on these edges. I know that we don't have all of these trees. Actually, I don't think we have any of these trees in green, which is devastating because they are an absolutely gorgeous green. And it's so upsetting that the asset exists, but we don't have it. We don't have it. I wonder if the green that I've put down is a nicer match than the other one. So that's the simple maple, that's the tall black maple. To be honest, I don't really see a massive difference between those. I do, however, kind of like the richness of this green. I believe that there's a couple of this one, but I'm not seeming to get the other side. Okay, there's one, and I think there's... I just had it. There was one more, which is a smaller one. So let me just cycle through until that wants to show up again. There we go. What I was thinking of doing was putting like just a big tree in the back corners, just behind the windmills. Kind of like that, just so there's a little bit of interest, I guess. I'm wondering if I move these ones out and replace them with the smaller green ones, whether the color feels a bit more cohesive with the buildings. Let's do that and place that in there. I think it's a bit nicer than this more yellowy green. So I'm just going to bring... I don't really use this angled one. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to get rid of these now because I've already placed some of the others down. And then let's take a look at what else we've got. I know we've got the small oak, which is actually kind of the same color as the rooftops, which is a really nice idea. So I don't know whether to place that like, I don't know, sort of like here, just in the background, or whether to not use it at all. But actually, I wonder what it would look like in place of this one, just given the color of it. But it might blend too much with the wheel. Yeah, I think it blends too much. So maybe we just skip that one altogether for now. I don't think the red one... I don't know. Maybe the red one kind of like could work. We've got the short Japanese maple. It adds a pop of color, for sure. Is it the correct pop of color? That one I don't know. Let me see what it looks like. Maybe if I grab it and place it in these corners. Like that, and maybe... Actually, no. It would have to just be about there. I do like the pop of red. But I'm just going to have to find a home for it. Whether that one actually goes just behind this brick fence. So it's just kind of visible. Although that feels out of place. So let me do it in line with that one. And do it in line with that one. So in line with that one. In line with that one. So you can kind of see them in the background, which is nice. Moving on, I think we've also got somewhere the light birches. So I'm just going to place maybe a couple of those down. We've also got the tall birches, which again are that more blue color, but I don't like them with this build. So I'm just going to place those. I believe that there's a double one. Yeah, there's the double one. But I'm wondering if the single one is actually a nice fit for that gap right there. Kind of like that. So there's like just some nice trees in the park area too. And then it's almost as if like the red ones could fit, but they're going to block quite a lot of the building if I place all of them down in those gaps, which I still want to be able to see the facades of the actual buildings. Let me take a quick look and see. I know that there's some small green trees, like this one. And I know we've got the large green tree. And then we've got this green tree that like overhangs. Whether those colors or not are fitting, I'm not sure. But we could maybe have like one of those tucked in the corner. Kind of like that. On either side. You know, something along those lines. I don't like those. Yeah, I don't like those. But I do like this build. The mini ones could be okay, but we're going to skip those. I think the pink is for me, because I've not used the pink windmill, I feel like the pink's a little bit too light and a bit too pastel. So I'm also going to skip that one. I don't want the orange, but I know we do have a couple more, a couple of these red trees, but... Oh, these cypresses could work. I hadn't thought about those. Let's do those. Yeah, let's do those on each kind of entryway. Okay, you need to be span around 180 so I can fit that exactly where it needs to go, and so do you. Which is about there, I think. Yeah, there and there. And let me make sure that these ones are the same. Let's rotate those. Do that, and then I can just bring that one in over here, and this one in over there. And that gives a bit of structure to those specific entrances. And I'm actually going to do the same thing on either end, but like towards the front. So if I grab that and I place it here, I grab that and I place it here, that creates that nice structure that we're going for, and we could put maybe some other little bits inside those beds. So I'm just going to rotate that all the way around. And that one's already sorted, so I can grab this one for over here. Which I think needs to come forward by 1. Like that, and then I can just grab that one for there. Beautiful. I love how that looks. And then let's see what we've got. We do have yellow, but it's not quite strong enough of a yellow to match the tulip color, unfortunately. So I think I'm going to have to miss those ones out. But we do have all the pastel flower patches. How could I forget about these? Let me get those down immediately. We've got the pastel ones. We've got the big shrubs. We do have some more windmills, but I don't think I need those for this one. And I don't want anything blue. Like, the blue is no help to me. But we do have these ones with the bunting on, which actually in this particular build I think could work nicely. I know it's a different type of green, but I do think that it could go. I don't want to lean too much into like mystical and whimsical either, so I'm not going to use any of the Pixie Acres stuff. These probably could have worked too, these shrubs, but I like the ones that we've put down, the cypress trees. Let's grab also that one just in case. And then we've also got... we do have some ferns, but I think ferns are a bit out of place for this build too, to be honest. I don't know whether to make that path like right up against... I know I've just changed tack real quick there, but I don't know whether to make that path right up against it. I feel like that is more appropriate. That feels a bit better to me. But I'm not sure. Let me see how that looks. Not on the end piece, maybe. On the others, it feels like the tulips should be right up against the path. That just feels like too big of a path. So that just caught my eye, and I'm going to fix that up right now. Let's do that. I'm going to bring that across by 1. We can go back, bring that down, bring that all the way across. Just tighten all of this up a little bit. Those ones are definitely a little bit more on the path than the other side, I fear. Okay. I feel better after doing that. I feel like that's definitely more appropriate. But I do think those end pieces are going to have to be something else, whether they be a flower bush or something, but it's looking great. Coming back over to the trees, let's get a couple more of those in. I'm thinking maybe these ones with the buntings in each corner, kind of like that, just for a bit more interest over there. And then let's do some of these pastel patches. So I'm thinking maybe like right in front of these ones here. I know that I spoke about some of the other foliage and said because it was pastel I didn't want to use it, so that's true. I did say that. It doesn't really match with those flowers, but you know, springtime, everything's vibrant. We'll go with that. I thought that maybe I'd be able to fit those in, but it looks as though the footprint's a bit bigger, so I'm actually going to see if I can squeeze one of those in. Or maybe two of those in. And then I could get like the flower patch in the middle. I think that's cute. Let's do one there, one there. And then one right on the edge. And I can get that patch in the middle again. Same thing on the other side. Do one here and one here. The nice thing about doing a symmetrical build, which is part of what I love, is that you can just replicate. One there and one there. That definitely feels a little bit more squished over there, so I don't know whether that's in the same place. It is. It's got to be in the same place. This one just felt a little bit more solitary, but never mind. We continue. I definitely want to get some beach grass, but I have to get the correct one, of course, because only one clips through stuff. So let me try and see. It seems to be the first one. Excellent. Seems to be the first one that we did, so I can just go ahead and place some of this down, maybe around like the building, like that. Maybe a little bit coming out this side too. So maybe another one over here. Just like that. So it's just a bit more visual interest. I'm going to move those back by one. I don't know what to put under these archways, if I even put anything under those archways, but I kind of like them the way that they are. The only other thing I could think to do is to put like another bench under these ones as well, as kind of like a shaded relaxation spot, but I would have to have the path come under it too. So I don't know whether to go ahead and do something akin to that, maybe. Actually, I quite like that. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Let's do the path underneath. And that's the thing, sometimes builds don't have to, I do complicated builds, but also builds don't always have to be super complicated. You can just pop a bench down here, pop a bench down there, and it still looks great, which is what I love. I'm gonna grab some of these straight pieces. I know that I said I wasn't gonna put too many more tulips down, but I feel like it. Okay. Maybe not. Are they completely square? They are completely square, which bugs me just a tiny bit because it's sitting over the path. But if I move that back by one, it seems as though I can fit them in. Just don't look at the skylines and see that it doesn't quite line up. Unless I just had this one all the way forward, that would be an option too. Something like that. That damn mailbox always getting in the way. Always, always, always getting in the way, especially because it's 2 tiles. I'm not even sure if I go in to remove the mailbox, if it will get rid of it, but that's fine. Those tulips look good like that. And then maybe we grab a flower bush. Maybe we do a Peaceful Meadow one, because that is the floating island that we're on, and then I can maybe put one down the side of each of those like that, just to bring a bit more greenery in. And then actually I could probably bring that across then to allow that all to line up. Just like that. So I'm looking at the gaps I have left. I've obviously got a bit of space around the fountain, which I don't mind being just grass, to be perfectly honest. The same for the trees. I feel like it needs that bit of breathing room. There's probably something that I could find to put in here, but I don't know. It's going to have to be quite a small footprint to be able to get anything in there. And the beach grass can't interact with the... Oh, it can interact with the walls. Okay, maybe I just do the beach grass then. I think that could be an option. So instead of focusing on color, we just bring a bit of texture in. Kind of like that. And like that, maybe? Can I go back another one? Let's do... Actually, let's just do that. Aha, there we go. Yeah, that gives something different, at least. And I wonder if we just did the same... Okay, it can't interact with the tree. That's fine. I was going to say, what if we do the same thing there, but... I think the middle section is done. I'm happy with that. The one thing that I know that we don't have much of right now is lighting. I always forget lighting until the last kind of second. Well, let's see. Let's see what will go best. Possibly just the yellow lampposts, although they don't look very good anymore because the texture is still broken. Or I do the black wrought iron ones, which now looking at them, I think they might be the ones. Let's do one on each corner. So there, and there. I think that's nice. And then let's do one in the corners. This formal kind of like garden building type aesthetic is definitely my favorite. Let's do... Actually, it's got a gap behind it anyway, so let's just do one more. If I can grab it, we'll place that down right there. And that's it. I don't think we need any around the edges otherwise. So for this section, let me pick up some more of those tulips. I've only got 27 of those left, even though I bought a bunch more. I don't know if those are going to quite fit with what I need them to do. So let's see. We've got, if I place one there, where does it come? It comes all the way over the path. However, I might be able to get rid of that one to there. So I got rid of that to there. And I could just place some of these down like that, and then maybe we just match up to about there. Although I guess they don't have to fully marry up. Oh, I can fit one there, and then maybe I just do 4 rows. I don't know how many of those that just used. Only got 11 left. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Alright, well, if I get rid of that row, I could maybe put the Plaza hedge running along the back instead. So if I grab that from, I think it's in trees. And then I could have that run along the back. But then I can't have it match just because of the distance, but that's okay. We can put maybe a tree in instead. Maybe we could put like one of these in right here. Actually, no, let's just match what we've got down the front. Or at the back, I should say. Let's do one of those. And then maybe a small one of these next to it. Yeah, just kind of like that. So hedges at the front and then the fence at the back. And then we should be able to do exactly the same thing on this other side. So if I do 1, 2. And then where did that line up to that one? So I take that and I do the rotation from here and I just follow that up. Should be able to get that one in and line that up just about to there. And then I can grab this smaller little one and just pop it in. Pop it in the gap just by there. Great. And then all I need to do is grab some of these tulips. And then I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then 9. Yeah, okay. 9, 10, 11. Oops, a daisy. Okay, and it won't let me place that extra one in. So where did you go wrong? It's just hitting it by 1, but it definitely looks like it's in the same place. If anything, that one looks closer. But I tell you what, let's do... Wait, that is closer. So I don't know how I got 1, 2, 3, 4 down there, but I can only get 3 down here. Let me save that. I think that was the case. That needed to go forward one, which will allow me to place the extra one in. So that's great. We got those sorted. Don't know if I can sneak anything in here. Oh, I can sneak a small flower bush in, but it does look like it's being snuck in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to the back. Kind of about there. And then we could also have one on the front. That's fine. We can have it clipping into the building. Just kind of like that. I like how that looks. And then I'm just going to place a grass over in this back corner and over in this back corner. And I think I might do the same at the back. Actually, no, I don't think I need one out there. That's fine. That all looks good. I'm happy with how that looks. The last thing I would say, just based on the tulips, is maybe I could do... Maybe I could do some beds kind of like here. But let me see. Where is that corner piece going to want to go? If I did a corner piece, it's going to want to go there. How do I fit the end on that? On the path. Not where I wanted it. So let's see. Can I get you closer to the building? Bring you across like that. Can you go back one? And then how do you look there? That doesn't quite work for me. So maybe it's a case of just mixing and matching. Maybe something like that. Actually, yeah, that works. Let's do that. Let's do full rotation on that over there. Then we can do the bottleneck like that. And then if necessary, we could even pop like a little flower patch in. Just at the front. Like that. Part of me is wondering if I do the end bed here instead. No, I like the stripe actually. Let's do that. You know, this is Tulip Town. There should be tulips. And tulips there are. I'm going to get rid of those. I'm going to have a little flick through my rocks tab just to see whether to put any rocks down, but I don't think that we need any. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think we need anything else with this build. I'm just looking, but I actually I absolutely love how it came together. So I don't think I need anything else on this. Let me give you a quick walking tour of this space. Obviously, there's not a great deal to it, but it does look great. We've got some water on either side of this walkway. These brick walls are perfect for containing that and creating almost little pools or ponds. We can walk straight up to the Toontown fountain, which I have actually placed a greenhouse over, mostly because the greenhouse matched really nicely with the wood of the buildings or the brown color of the buildings, but also the warm tone of these actual brick walls. So I just think that looks really nice with the stained glass at the top. I'm going to come off to the left where we've got fields of tulips. We've got one of those windmills spinning around. Looks fantastic. We got some of the buildings on the left-hand side with some foliage. We've got flower beds ready for planting up inside the walls. We've obviously got those buildings towards the back as well. Another windmill with some more variations and a bench. Loving all of these tulips. They just bring the whole space to life. We do have that nice little house in the middle where we can go into, with Belle seemingly enjoying herself, wanting to read in the tulip field. And then we've got the same again over this side. All looking really nice in the sunshine. Coming into one of 4 entrances into this middle part, we've got a lot of nice greenery and foliage going on. We've got those nice structured trees as well as some grasses. The trees in the middle for some shade. We've got this fountain again with the nice wooden greenhouse roof over the top of it. And then we've got the same again over on this side. So it looks pretty good, to be honest with you. I had a rough idea in my head of what I was thinking I was going to do with this, but it turned out better than I could have thought. So I'm really happy with this. All right, my friends, that is it for this video. I do hope that you enjoyed this long play. I had a lot of fun putting this one together. I felt the inspiration. I just really wanted to make a lovely build with this Tulip Town building kit. Those tulips are going to be so useful in so many places, but I can't believe how versatile those brick walls are. So if these ever come up in your recommended, I certainly do recommend that you go ahead and grab them. If you did enjoy this video today, feel free to give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more Disney Dreamlight Valley content. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me today. I hope you found this useful, informative, inspiring, whatever it may be. If you did, please let me know down in the comments below. But I am going to leave it there for today, so I will catch you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in the valley.